I am hesitant to say anything. I'm hesitant to say anything yet. It's 6 o'clock. It's February 3rd. And I've been sitting here for the last 45 minutes and in some distress. Nothing unmanageable. But here's what's going on. So, I went out walking today. Hi, Lisa. And I had some ideas for music, not for the show. Just, you know what? It's kind of fun turning on the music. Maybe I haven't heard in a while, right? That's what I was thinking as I was walking. I wasn't thinking about a theme or anything. Just I started thinking about Daydream Believer by the Monkees, right? I told you that I used to jam to I'm a Believer by the Monkees, but I hadn't given much thought to Daydream Believer. So I was thinking about it, and I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to put on my headset. I listen to it. I don't listen to the headset when I walk, okay? I just don't. But I decided I'd go ahead and listen to my phone. I said, hey, let me listen to Daydream Believer. I started playing. I thought, that's fun, And I thought, when I get home, I should come up with a couple of songs that you people haven't heard for a while, right? 2 I posted even before the show. I just threw them out there on Facebook, right? When I woke up this morning, and remember the other one. Oh, Laugh, Laugh by the Beau Brummels, both of which I had on 45s, okay? And hi, Liza and Debbie and Kathy. So I got home and I started looking at some music. I'm looking for one particular song. Hi, Tammy. I'm looking for a particular song, and I thought I won't have any trouble finding it. I'm going to go on the internet, and I thought the name of the song was called Jive Time. I put that in, and I get some crappy white song with people almost dancing like two-step, like country western. I'm like, no, 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 no. So I tried a couple of different variations. I didn't get it. So it goes, it's Jive Time. Bump, ba-da-na-na-na-dum, dum, dum, da-da-na-na-na-dum, dum, dum, dum. Anyways, Mark McDougall, he should be able to find this because he used to listen to these old jams. All of you did. Anyways, if somebody knows what song that is, I spent about 20 minutes looking for what I thought the name was Jive Time, because I thought it started like this. It's Jive Time. Bump, ba-da-na-na-na-dun, dun, 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 dun. Okay? So if somebody knows what the freaking song is, please tell me. Now, it's possible that it was so obscure, the internet didn't pick it up. That happens sometimes. I don't know. I'm not saying. Anyways, what I did come up with tonight, and it was just a scattershot. It wasn't, I got a theme in mind. Like, it's not like Monday on Monday, right? Or Tuesday afternoon on Tuesday. This was just throwing it out there, man. Just throwing it out there. Boogaloo Down Broadway, I had that 45. Itchykoo Park, I had that 45. And Walk Away Renee by the Left Bank, I had that 45. I don't have the albums, never had the albums to any of those 3 songs, but I listed them, and I thought, Twine Time. Thank you. Oh, my God, Mark. Thank you. It's Twine Time. No, man. Exactly. How did you do that so quick? Man, thank you. Why did I think it was Jive Time? It's Twine Time. Exactly. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, so glad to get that off my whatever. Anyways, so, thank you. See, I said Mark would come up with it, and he did. All right, so, and hi, Mark and Ann. and Rachel. So listen, Tammy, no snow, baby. 70 degrees here today. Let me say that again. 70 degrees here today. Windy. So I went for a walk. I walked for a little bit over, I walked about 5.5 miles by myself. No female companions. Just me. Just me, myself, and I, the three of us, walking on the Chisholm Trail, and it walks along a creek. And it's nice. It's nice. I will have twine time up here in the near future. I promise that. It's twine time. Yes, thank you. All right. But so while I'm getting set here, I'm telling you a story that I got distracted by twine time. I'm telling you a story. So I'm sitting here and I'm working on my computer trying to find the music that jam and a couple other jams to kind of put out there today. I thought, you guys seem to have fun with music. Why not parlay the fun with music a little bit more? Well, here's what happens. Yesterday, I believe it was yesterday, this 9-year-old girl got pepper sprayed. And I thought to myself, you got to be a moron to pepper spray a 9-year-old. That was my initial reaction. And some friends posted it and messing around. I said, oh, blue lives matter too. Like, what did you want them to do? Risk their life and limb? Just messing around. And, then I had to go, I'm just being sarcastic. Anyways, I didn't get over the top upset. And I'll tell you why. Because I am over the top upset now. I thought the kid was white. So I thought, it's about time they pepper spray a white kid, right? And then I'm watching the news today, as kind of in the background as I'm looking for music, and it comes to my attention, this was a black child. Now, this is happening simultaneously while all these white insurrectionists are being released from jail, hit and miss. One woman apparently asked the judge to release her so she could go to a getting to know you job function in Mexico. It's going to be a touchy-feely kind of thing. And apparently, according to the news, the judge thought, thought she was good to go. And then they played a tape of her inside the rotunda or someplace saying, we just broke down Nancy Pelosi's office door. And here's the thing. Okay, I thought she was white. I didn't see the video, Debbie. I didn't see anything. I just read a quick story, and I just made an assumption, and it was wrong. And now that I have been corrected, I'm really pissed because it's just this constant theme, this persistent malfeasance, malpractice by police departments over and over and over and over again. Okay? So I'm really pissed because I saw this much video, Debbie and everybody, 6 cops standing at the door of the car. I never saw the kid. I just heard the video where the cop says, just go ahead and spray her. Now, apparently, he was talking to a woman cop, and she didn't spray her. So the cop intervened, and he sprayed a 9-year-old child. A 9-year-old child. You're not supposed to spray any child 9 years old. Not white, not black, not Puerto Riqueño, nobody. But how, after everything we just went through, how after all the calamities that piled up this past year with George Floyd and all the others, how do you not stop and think for one fucking second, this would be a stupid fucking thing to do? How fucking cruel do you have to be? How the fuck did you get a badge on you? Who the fuck is your mother? You gotta be so fucking lame. Were I her daddy, this is what I would say. If I were her daddy, this is what I would say. I would tell this officer one-on-one, nobody else, just he and I, sharing and caring. I would tell him that I'm going to get you. As God is my witness, one day I'm going to get you and I'm going to beat you within an inch of your life. And I swear on all that is holy, I'm going to get you. This I would promise that officer. Okay? Yeah, Rachel, I really don't care about you, dog. I'm sorry. Debbie, I don't have a blood pressure machine, but my blood pressure's good, girl. Yet another instance this week of a security guard body slamming a teenage girl. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. Nothing you all could say, be it concern for my blood pressure, nothing you could say about other infractions of police protocol and training, nothing you could place in perspective that I could read, I could see, I could hear that would set me off greater than the idea that first, that you would pepper spray a child, okay? But second of all, in view of all the racial animus that we have been combating with police departments, trying to rein them in, with all that went on this past year with George Floyd and all the other protests, the insensitivity we keep pointing out that is going on with police officers absolutely violating. I believe they're violating the law. I believe that that officer assaulted that 9-year-old child. I believe it was unlawful assault and battery. It's a battery. It's not an assault. Excuse me. It's a battery. It's a touching. I believe he should face criminal consequences, undoubtedly, without another fact known to me. Without a single another fact, I can tell you as a lawyer and as a police trainer that that officer should face criminal charges. Now, you could change the scenario. Now you could come to me and say, Ken, she had a knife. She was going to cut him. I read she was in handcuffs. She wouldn't put her feet in the car. So let me reiterate. There is nothing you can say. So a cop body slammed this girl, I think at a mall or something that Joan made reference to. Now, that pisses me off. It does. But I've been dealing with security guards for the better part of 20 years. They're so poorly trained. I've got so many security guard stories because I used to be licensed in the state of Texas to train and certify security officers before they could get licensed. I met some really stupid guys, but they were getting paid $8 an hour, minimum wage. They weren't police officers. They weren't going to police academies. They came to my facility and spent 30 hours getting trained in security. So to be so at this point, for an American law enforcement officer to be so insensitive, to be so cruel, to be so disdainful of his actions in pepper spraying a 9-year-old is so beyond anything that we could say to each other. So I'm an old guy. Yeah, my time is coming to an end, right? I mean, I'm playing the back nine, right? But if you had ever put your hands like that on one of my two daughters, I mean, I don't know if I can get in trouble with Facebook for this, but I say without hesitancy, I beat that officer within an inch of his life. I'm going to catch that officer someday, and I'm going to beat him. I'm going to beat him like what they say, like a redheaded stepchild. You know what I'm saying? There's no force. There's no badge. There's no authority. There is nothing you can do that would dissuade me, right? Except one, put him in jail, put him behind bars, and I'm going to say the system took care of it. That's okay. The system took care of it. If the system did not incarcerate this individual, I would just make it the number one on my list of things to do is to beat this officer, period. Now, I have never hit an officer. I haven't hit anybody in years, right? I don't fight with the police, never have. If I got an issue with police, I deal with it, but we didn't get physical. By the way, Chicago cops, you can't beat a Chicago cop because Chicago cop, they either could, all they had to do was get to a radio, any radio. They get to the car radio when they had car radios. If they couldn't get, then they had the little shoulder radio. And I will tell you that once he calls in, officer needs assistance, you're fucked. If you're the combatant and he puts out officer needs assistance, you will be beaten mercilessly. I know this. Now, pretend this guy that pepper sprayed a 9-year-old girl is a Chicago officer. Doesn't matter. Beating your ass. Beating your ass, taking the ass whooping with it. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. So I got wound up. Okay. Some of you are asking me about the incident. I've been reading. All you have to do is Google 9-year-old pepper sprayed, and you'll see the story. Hi, Rose. Hi, Liza. If I didn't say hi, Joan. It's front page news. It's been in the news for 2 days. They're on leave. They've been suspended pending an investigation. Okay. The police chief is a black woman. She's already held a press conference and said she can't imagine what they were thinking when they were doing that this troubles her. Of course, they have to wait. The police chief has to be careful. They have to wait for an investigation because otherwise, the beat officers go crazy. Oh, you threw us under the bus. You need to be thrown under the bus, and you need to be rolled over a couple of times. So here's the thing. It's 2021, man. You want me, I'm not talking about you specifically. You people in general, white people want me, for instance, people like me to move on. You want me to stop taking up the battle cry for black persons. You want me to let go of the notion that slavery was so oppressive, so diametrically unfair to any sense of equity in the world, but that it was so long ago. You want people like me to stop with the battle cry against the police. And so then we think to ourselves, well, maybe they have a point. How long? But no, you don't have a point. You don't have a point. Because there's never been a cessation of the activities which started as people of color were loaded into ships like cattle to today. There's never been a cessation by law enforcement personnel in general, not specific. Like Debbie knows some, she knew a lot of cops. She probably knows some good ones. She knows some bad ones too. I know some good ones. I know some bad ones. I know quite a few bad ones. Here's my point. If you never stop the criminal behavior, if you never stop trying to enslave anybody, you don't get a break in the connection. Okay? It's like anti-Semitism goes back for freaking centuries. Okay? So when we say never forget the Holocaust, and that was in 1940, the 40s, started in the late 30s. We're not going to forget the Holocaust. Don't ask people who have suffered that kind of torture and that kind of death to forget. Don't expect forgiveness. What you do is you make a world where it can't happen again. And yet today, on February 3rd, there are white supremacists on the internet waving their battle flags freely. The spotlight on them, not scaring them at all, because the President of the United States of America, up until January 20th, was applauding their activities. How do I move on from 4 years of a white supremacist president in the United States of America? This isn't Germany. By the way, Germany does a better job of making amends for the behavior. This isn't a third world country. This isn't a country lacking democratic principles or democratic documents. This is the United States of America, a democratic republic. And it is a melting pot, unlike almost any country, or maybe unlike any country in the world. We are a greater reflection of the diversity and multitude of people who occupy this globe than any other country in the world. If that's true, is progress learning to get along? Or should we wave the flag of white supremacy, anti-Semitism, homophobia, xenophobia? What would be productive? What would bring about the very healing that people seem to insist repeatedly to Jews, to blacks, to gays, to whoever, that we should move on as if somehow there's been a break in the bad behavior, a break in the criminal behavior, a break in the oppressive behavior, the brutality until now? Because that's what it would take. You would have to have a stay of that type of behavior, and then you would move in to what I call progressiveness. But the fact is, regressiveness has taken over this country and has for the last 4 years. You can turn on your TV today and you will see the Republicans debating whether Marjorie Thompson Greene, I believe that's her name, should be marginalized in the GOP for saying things against Jews, against members of Congress. I mean, she pretty much went after everybody, right? QAnon. How do you want me to move past this, let's be generous, poor behavior, if you do nothing to marginalize it, and rather instead, which is what I guarantee you, if you will watch the freaking news, you will see Republicans trying to worm their way out of trying to contain this type of white supremacy that has been ignited in the Republican Party. That old boys in white sheets are still here. That's right, Debbie. That's exactly right. As Liza says, it's an abuse of authority. If it's an elected official, if it's a police officer, if it's anybody who carries a badge of authority, and I don't mean literally a badge, but if it's somebody who occupies a position of authority, it can be somebody who works the cash register at County Hall and decides to use their time and their authority to make you miserable while you're waiting to pay a fine or to pay for a permit. See, if you go to Chicago and you visit City Hall, you'll have every little pinche cabron who's got any authority, try to make you miserable. And instead of chastising and marginalizing those assholes, they keep coming to work every day. And you can complain and complain and complain. I won't do anything unless you got a lot of money, unless you're a politician. So if you're operating under any authority, then that needs to be dealt with. I want to type something in. There's a legal terminology. No, that brought up the wrong thing. Okay, color of give me a second. I put in a color of authority. Okay, I'm going to cut and paste this. Yeah, so here. Oh, thanks, Michael. Hi, Michael. Nice to see you. Sorry, I know you said something earlier and I just didn't. Listen, we must absolutely grasp intellectually, we must first grasp what is actually being perpetrated. We must understand that it's systemic. As long as we continue to act as if it's just this isolated incident here, we cannot correct it. You have to recognize it. So at an intellectual level, and then you must get emotionally disturbed by what is going on. When you hear that a 9-year-old child gets pepper sprayed, you need to have an immediate reaction. And I did, because I know police tactics. My first reaction is, what freaking moron thought it was a good idea to pepper spray a 9-year-old? Now, and I admit, I thought as a white kid, and I'm not as gracious about white kids as I am about black kids. Here's why. Because sometimes it just seems like if you would start pepper spraying and beating white people the same way you do black people, I wouldn't be so mad. I know that's weird. I get it. I know that sounds strange, but I'm just saying, if everybody was beaten equally, it would lead me to believe that there's some equity. But there isn't. There isn't. It's too often. It's too many. It's too harsh to keep seeing people of color beaten down unnecessarily, while white people can go and tear down the Capitol of the United States of America, and not nobody, I know you people care, all right? And people somehow can rationalize, justify the behaviors, the actions, and the destruction and the violence. If they keep doing that, then I have to keep defaulting to, how did you come up with the idea to do that to a black child? So that's why I kind of shrug off when, listen, I'm somebody, and I'm not the only one. I know there's others. You read about some fucked up crime and you say, God, I hope it was a white guy. God, I hope it was another black guy. Because I already know that there's a racial bias. Some of it will be warranted. Jesse Jackson copped to it. It will be warranted because when you understand the nature of the inner city, and you understand the nature of the violence that percolates, then you get that. But that's no excuse. I'm not excusing violence. What I'm saying is I want to see the punishment parceled out equally. I want to see white men beaten just as frequently as I see. But then when black people complain, ow, look what they did to me, then you can go and say, well, yeah, but you know what? For every one of you, they beat a white guy. Then we would all go, ha, must have had it coming. Because these cops, they're fair. They beat anybody that has it coming. Yeah, that would be better, frankly. Now, backing up, right? It might be better if nobody who didn't need it didn't get the ass whooping. Let me not be cavalier about ass whippings administered by police officers. I've seen plenty of ass whippings put on whites, blacks, Hispanics that weren't deserved, period. It was a defiance of authority that got people whooped. It wasn't because their criminal actions or their violence perpetrated against police officers. It was simple defiance of authority. I saw Chicago cops over and over and over again wreak havoc on people for verbally standing up to the cop, for resisting their authority. Not because they were a physical threat, not because they committed any act of violence. And I'm sure it doesn't stop at the Chicago Police Department. Anyways, I'm telling you, I was preparing for tonight's podcast and I was focused on music. That's what I was doing. I didn't have a theme. I didn't have a topic. I never do. I was just sitting around going, do we talk about Marjorie Green again? I mean, she just is. She's raising a lot of money for the Republicans. Marjorie. You QAnon, fuck you. Okay? So I was sitting there minding my own business, and I am overhearing Ari Melber, who does a lot on race relations and police and stuff, talking about the 9-year-old. And I get, it suddenly sank in what I'm dealing with. And so I got on the internet and I looked up this kid, and I'm realizing what happened. Can you imagine? You're surrounded by police officers. You're 9 years old. You're begging to see your father. You live with your mother. Now, her mother, what a piece of work she is. The mother says this. Well, I was arguing with my husband, her stepdad, not her dad. I was arguing. I didn't know she could hear us. Now, this is a child that's got psychological problems. She's already in a screwed up home situation. Dad doesn't live there. Mom does. Mom got a stepdad. So she overhears them fighting. She gets upset. She's crying. Her mother, who I'm pretty clear is probably an idiot, she escalates with her daughter. Her daughter now is just, beyond herself. The cops are called for the domestic disturbance. According to the article I read, the cops are called to a domestic disturbance between the woman and her husband. But when they get there, the child is now out of control. They try to control her. She runs off down the street. They get her. They bring her back. She's screaming for her dad. Now, I'm a grown man. Pretend I'm a grown man. Pretend that I am a grown policeman. And I have a 9-year-old child. And I get, it won't take long. I'm going to find out that her mother was fighting with her stepdad and that there's problems in this house. And this child is screaming for her dad, screaming for her dad. Everybody says that, And imagine that as a grown man. I say to this child, forget your dad. Forget, you'll do what I tell you. That's probably not the most sensitive response, but what the heck. So now you handcuff this child, and you're a grown man. And there's 5 more of you standing there now. You have the child in handcuffs. Okay? You want me to give a fuck about blue lives? Then you need to act worthy of being treated with respect. Fuck blue lives. Okay? You screwed up, man. You sprayed a child. And then the rest of us got to sit around and try to be nice about other cops. See, you poisoned the well, man. You know what I'm saying? I got a drink from the well of public opinion. You poisoned it. Your behavior. You're the reason I got no concern for Blue Lives Matter people. No. Mall. I missed something. I see Ann said mall. Sorry, I'm off on a tangent. I know. But I'm just saying, if you're a grown man, and that somehow, when you processed your thoughts looking at a 9-year-old child in distress, begging for a father. In fact, at one point, apparently, according to the reports, he says, you're acting like a child. And she, being the adult of the two, says, I am a child. She was right. By the way, he's right too. She was acting like a child. Listen, don't worry about my blood pressure, kids. For those of you that were worried earlier, any of you about my aggravation, I deserve to be aggravated. I should let my blood pressure get up. I should be pissed off. I should be yelling because I am communicating to a group of people and it should be unequivocal. No uncertainty whatsoever where the fuck I stand on the issue of what happened, right? I should express myself fully. I should have whatever catharsis is necessary so that those around us who share our community, who walk our beat and call themselves a cop, they need to know that when they do that, there is no tolerance. There is zero tolerance for that. Do you know kids are thrown out of school for defending themselves against another student physically? Do you know kids are expelled from school when the principal knows that they were not the perpetrator and they were merely a participant? They were not the person that started it because there's zero tolerance. Now, you want me to have zero tolerance? You want me to send my kid to school? You want me to tell them zero tolerance? Screw you. Zero tolerance, let it start with the adults, right? My daughter got in trouble. My daughter got in trouble for being in a fight. She didn't start it. I told y'all what happened. They called me to the school. I'm like, what? Well, I don't understand. What do you want from me? Well, you need to tell your daughter there's no fighting here. I said, but you told me that the other child struck my daughter first. The vice principal was, well, yes, but they're not. I said, well, no. You can't establish a rule. You can't establish a law. You cannot say to me, her father, that she cannot strike somebody who just struck her. You are barking up the wrong tree. No, I'm not going to tell my daughter that. I'm not going to make my daughter a professional victim. Get the fuck out of here, right? Yeah, he didn't call me to school too many more times. But do you get what I'm saying? I mean, am I making sense? My daughter didn't need to be told not to fight. The child that struck her first needed to be penalized accordingly. Expel her, suspend her, punish her. I don't know what you do, but you don't bring it to my home. You don't tell me how my daughter's supposed to behave in an aberrant fashion. To me, that's aberrant. Taking answers. My daughter's not Jesus Christ. She ain't turning the other cheek. If she chooses to turn the other cheek, if my daughter chooses to, I'm fine with that. If my daughter said to me, you know what? She hit me, but I didn't hit her back. I was a bigger person. I would go, well, that's nice, honey. I'm proud of you. I was also proud of my daughter for sticking up for her and her sister when she kicked the other girl that punched her. I don't remember who kicked and punched who, but I was fine with it, you know. In fact, as you may recall, when I told this story some time ago, I told the vice principal, next time you hold my child in your office for an hour after school, because this took place after school, and you don't call me, there might be more ass whippings up in here. I didn't threaten him like that. I was gracious. I told him, you don't hold my child for an hour. That's a child. You call me. I'm sitting at home. I've been wondering where my daughters are. You got my daughters in the office here? You had to be out of your mind, mister. Do we have an understanding? He understood. He understood. He and I never had another problem, man. You know, we should all be livid about the abuses of power. It's cruel and criminal. Indeed. And Debbie, who I know Debbie knows more cops than most of us. She may know more cops than all of us put together. She's been married to more cops than some of you know. Said there are bad apples now more than ever. Okay? Thank you, Kathy. I feel like I should express myself and let it out because holding it in is a covert way of giving consent. No, it's an overt way. Forget covert. It's an overt way of giving consent. If I don't rail against this type of behavior, I'm contributing to this. If I can blame police officers for not standing up to bad police cops, if I can chastise a police officer who has never harmed somebody improperly or at all, but I hold them liable because they stood there while somebody else committed a cruelty, another officer committed cruelty, then I need to hold myself to the standard. I need to say, I too need to say stop. I too need to make sure that they understand that I will bring pressure to authorities when necessary. I will ask for you to be fired. I will ask for defunding of police if necessary. I will ask for retraining of police. I will ask for a modification of your protocols and your training. I will insist that that officer shouldn't be allowed to carry a pepper spray or a gun for a while. Let him go out, just him and his bare fist, Let him learn how to bring control through what we call verbal judo. Every officer should, because I worked with street gangs for 5 years and I carried no weapon. I worked with kids. I had no badge. I had no uniform. I had to stop people from hurting me or hurting others on a frequent basis, and I didn't have anything to go on except my voice of authority. My ability to insist on respect, to command respect by use of my skills of persuasion, and my ability to demand authority and communicate it through voice and action. Every police officer has the opportunity to learn that in the academy. If they can't learn it, maybe you just don't give them something else. Maybe you need to spend your first year without a weapon. Maybe you need to learn how to be a cop without a weapon, and then we'll let you carry a gun. I don't know. Just saying. Anyways, the show's over. My podcast, that is over. Obviously, there's another show going on in the world. The MTG show, Marjorie Thompson Green show, is going on. The GOP is busy trying to figure out how to be white supremacists but not be thought of as white supremacists. The GOP is trying right now to not kick its human conservative members who do not agree with QAnon, how to keep that money coming in while hugging and kissing the MTGs and the Boberts and all the other QAnon people that have infiltrated the Congress, who are essentially white supremacists, anti-gay, anti-Jewish, whatever. Anyways, this is a good time to bring it down a notch. This is a good time before I leave to demonstrate that in the midst of all this chaos, in the midst of this violence, in the midst of this fury, that any one of us can, at least in the moment, take a deep breath, bring our hands before our hearts, and practice goodwill. But do know that whenever I talk about goodwill and compassion, and I mean it for that cop, I mean it for all cops, I mean it for all people, I mean it for all living things. But being in a place of acceptance of the need to send out loving kindness means never, does not in any way mean that I'm going to approve or forget or forgive these matters until they are redressed. We must fill our own selves first, for you cannot pour from an empty vessel. May I be happy, healthy, free from harm. May I be free from anger, animosity, anxiety, and fear. And may this practice bring me to a place of greater peace and comfort. May my mother and father rest their souls, and all my living relatives and all my friends be happy, healthy, free from harm. May they too find the path that leads them to lives of greater peace and comfort. And to those persons I harbor ill will towards, the Trumps, this cop, this Marjorie, and then the people who just in my personal life sometimes just piss me off. I can take this moment of metta, of kindness, to wish that their lives would be so good, so filled with happiness, that they would not inflict cruelty on any others. May they be happy, healthy, free from harm, living lives of comfort, peace, and joy. May all living beings, wherever they may be throughout the universe, humans or non-humans, know our collective desire for them to be happy, healthy, and free from harm. May all living beings live their lives in safety, peace, and comfort. Satu, Satu, Satu. Anyways, thank you, Liza, Debbie, Kathy, Michael, Joan, Mark, Ann, all y'all, Lisa and Kathy and Ginny, if she stuck around, and Rachel, and did I say Liza? I think so. Debbie and Tammy, and if I forget to name you, anyways, I got to go teach meditation now. Can you imagine? I am literally going, today's Wednesday, isn't it? Yeah. So it's Wednesday. So I'm literally going to go teach meditation after that. Yes, I got wound up. It was not the theme I was working on. Okay, I wasn't working on a thing. Listen to some of the songs I posted if you would. Have yourselves a little party tonight. Make some pizza, drink some sodas, watch some fun TV, listen to some music. Be good to yourselves. Thanks, Debbie. When they are, you can tell me then. Okay. All right. Thanks, Rose. Bye, guys.